Welcome to Homemade Sessions, where we explore and research entrepreneurs making waves across their different industries.
Hey, listen, I'll never knock a good hustle. Like, I can't knock the hustle. Like,
Yeah.
I get it, because I would do, if I was them, I'd do the same shit. If I was Complex, like, all of these media brands are like looking for an event or something that they could tie it into, because people don't read Complex. Like, nobody's read
Not
like
anymore.
nobody's
Hell
read,
no.
reading that shit, huh?
No.
Yeah, well, Verizon owns Complex, so they not going nowhere. Yeah, Verizon bought Complex. Complex, what did this shit used to be called? Complex. Now it's called Complex Networks. Before it was called. It had three names. It was like Complex. Oh no, Complex Media Network. So
Yeah.
that's what all of those blogs that we was talking about earlier. That's what they bought it
Yeah.
under that. And they used to have this website. I'll never forget this, because it like
I hope you catching this, Julian.
it like expanded
You got
my mind around how you sell this type of stuff or this type of like information. Like, when I went to Complex Media Network site, I had never heard of this before. I just knew Complex. And that's how I found out that they were bought by like Verizon, and it had like this ticker that had all the numbers, and it was like 260 million impressions, and it was breaking it down by
Yeah.
site. And I was like, on Complex? And then it started showing all the blogs, and I was like, oh, I got it. And then I think Yahoo started one after that too.
Right.
Yahoo
Yep.
purchased like Nicole Bitchie
I
or like Exo
remember
Nicole,
that.
whatever it's called,
Yep.
and bought a bunch of them. And I was like, yo, we should start a network. So that's going back to that story. That's when I sent out that email. I sent it out to every blog. Like, if it was a blog, I can't even remember none of them now, because honestly, none of them exist anymore.
Right.
Except
They're all
like
gone.
Hip Hop Since 1987 is
That's
the only
it.
one that's kind of left.
I used to go to Nowrite to literally find artists. Like,
No. I mean like Philly blogs, I'm saying.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, I'm saying all of the Philly blogs. There was dozens. I sent the email, and I probably could find the email now, and it was like New Year's, like 2008, maybe 2007.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, before the year starts, I gave them the numbers. I put in like some like projections, maybe like, here's what we could potentially make, but we gotta band together. Like, I'm not trying to be the head of this. I'm trying to create a board. So we all are equal. And now if we bring in other blogs, then they will come in under us. But like, look at what New York is doing. I'm like, they are controlling the game. At one point, New York was controlling the the music industry, and I'm like, yo, we gotta do something similar for not just music, but I was expanding it into like information. I'm like, the largest traffic site for like stuff that is reposted, it was CNN.com. So I will go on CNN.com and take the most popular stuff and then reuse it.
That's fire.
That's
smart.
On my site, because what a lot of people didn't know is a lot of those sites they didn't at that time, they didn't expand into other countries. So like North Korea, Russia, China, places where they have like information gates and things you can't access. You can't access CNN. You can't access.
You can't
Fox
get in.
And CNBC, but you could access I'm not a rapper, I spit.com.
That's smart.
So they would come to my site, and that's how they would get their
their latest news.
But then I would have news, I would have I have conspiracy theories, I would have our podcast.
Right.
That's how our podcast was doing 60,000 a week, because it wasn't people in the US. There were people in Philly who still didn't know what a podcast was.
Yeah.
But we were doing Blair, and when Blair was here, I'm sure
he
told
came
you.
through.
But like we started off doing 60,000 a week, and I was like, oh shit. Like,
what year was that?
Let's see, Podcast Wednesdays ended in 2012, I think. So this would have been maybe 2000. Yeah, this would have. No, I'm sorry, we ended in 2011. So this would have been 2007, 2006. Like, when people didn't even know what a podcast was.
I was in college. Yeah,
people didn't even know what a podcast was then. I spent most of the time getting guests.
Yeah,
they would say yes, and then I would spend the majority of the conversation explaining to them what a podcast was.
God,
and they were like,
damn.
so we're gonna be on radio? How can I tell people to tune in? I'm like, well, when it comes out, I'll send you the link, and then you can share it. And they're like, comes out. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna record it. It's a podcast. I'm like, oh, a podcast. And I'm like, do you have an iPhone? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, go on your phone and type in podcast. It's this little purple thing you're gonna see. And I'm like, that's what it is. I'm like, just look at all the shows on there. None of the
Right.
people look like us. Now we got one.
Shit.
I forgot what I was saying.
60,000 views.
Oh yeah. But so a lot of most of our traffic when I started, because there was a service called Blueberry.
Okay.
BLU Blueberry. Blueberry was the first podcast analytics
Okay.
program.
Gotcha.
So I pay for Blueberry, and they would help us see like where our like traffic sources were coming from. And I noticed that those traffic sources mirrored the traffic sources on the site.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, so this is the people that's listening to
exactly.
it. So this content is stuff that. So then we started to follow the model of like, we're going to talk about everything that's going on in the US, because this is what they want, but
Across
they
the
can't get it
board.
anywhere else. So we posted the articles to lead into the podcast, and then we would play music, like stuff that like Blair and I are both like music connoisseurs. So we would play stuff that we listened to, like I don't know, Matt and Kim and Kid Cudi and stuff that people wasn't even really on yet.
Not quite yet. Not in 2000. Hell no.
Not that. I mean, again, I know they had like record label help and all that, but I will say that we definitely put them in front of audiences that were not able to access that music, because this is really before streaming took off. Like,
hell yeah.
I had like,
we were still selling digital. I didn't leave Best Buy until 2008, and we were still selling millions. That was
absolutely.
that was
when you shipped your sales, when it was like, it's not how much you show, so it's not how much you sold, it's how much you shipped. So
exactly. It was all about ship
if
sales.
there was a demand, if they looked at your projections and they said, you're gonna do double platinum, then we'll ship 1 million. And now you platinum out the gate. Before,
I used to get yelled at for Taylor Swift. Oh, we need you to order 100,000 off the gate, like that type of junk.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's how 50. That was 03 when 50. I think they shipped 5 million copies of Get Rich or Die Trying.
They knew it was coming. Yeah, they knew.
Well, no, it's crazy. It didn't even sell like that at first. Like it was just that the copies were already out there, so it was so prevalent that, like you mentioned, Best Buy. It was like the Targets and Best Buy and Walmarts. It was everywhere. So
and
it's
Circuit
like,
City.
you gonna buy it. It's a big cardboard cutout of 50 Cent.
Bro,
if you never even heard of 50 Cent, you're like, oh, this is interesting.
Like, you got this big planogram. All right, there are 10 slots, each one 50. You got Kanye. I mean, like, it's gonna sell. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, that was another one too. To that 50 versus Kanye.
Yeah, that 50 versus Kanye was crazy.
It was like Graduation and what was 50's sophomore? I can't even remember. But
I don't know. It wasn't that good though.
No, his sophomore? No, his sophomore was good. It was the Massacre, I think.
Okay. All right. The Massacre was all right. You're right.
Massacre.
You're right.
Yeah. Oh no, it was before I Self-Destruct.
Yeah,
that's when he went against Kanye.
That's when it came.
That was what I Get Money and all that. I think was on.
Yeah.
It's a nice effort, but
he tried.
Yeah,
he knew he was gonna lose though.
Yeah. Well, it was never really a competition.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
all like
it was all hype.
Yeah, I want to put myself next to the person that is going to bring me the most attention. Like Kanye had an audience that 50 didn't have, and 50 had an audience that Kanye didn't have. Like they put out the video years later from that photo shoot of them like face to face, and then when they got the picture, they both like bust out laughing, like it was
cracking up.
Yeah, because
they knew what they were doing.
Like we gonna laugh all the way to the bank because we about to make so much money off of this. It's gonna be crazy.
And Kanye's still doing it now, and it's funny because we were just talking about what's going on with Kanye. How does that relate? So first of all, I didn't introduce this man. He is the
oh, I didn't even know we started. My bad.
SVP?
Yeah. Senior Executive Vice President, but SVP is cool.
Something, nothing crazy. But nothing crazy, But the creator of Forbes The Culture. And we could literally sit here and just talk shit all day, but I gotta formally introduce him, let y'all know who he is. And inspiration, some of the things he's done. You hear some of the history, but now meet the man and just tell us a little bit about Forbes The Culture, how you created it, and then let's get into Kanye and all the current events and all that good stuff.
So I started Forbes The Culture in 2017, and I always get credited as like the founder of Forbes The Culture, but I mean I would say that the people founded it really.
Dope.
I didn't go to Boston with the intention of starting Forbes of Culture. It just
Right.
kind of happened. Like we were at a conference and we felt like invited but not included. And because of that, we wanted to make, we wanted to create a space where we could be both.
Got it.
So I organized a dinner for 25 people because I'm not rich now. I wasn't rich then, so I could afford 25 people.
He's an SVP. You
Wings and
getting
water,
there.
wings and water. I'm like, listen, take a piece of wing, pass it down.
That's love.
And but 300 people showed up to this 25 person
Oh
dinner,
shit.
so it was kind of like obviously there was a need for
Right.
this thing. There was a want and a need for these spaces to be created for us. And it just kind of grew from that one night.
Yeah.
That was the first, those were the first 300 members of Forbes the Culture.
Okay.
It didn't even exist yet. And how the name even came about was I was given a toast and I was like, yo, thank you for everybody. Actually, the dinner was called the For the Culture Meetup because I was like, we need to have something that's for
Right.
us,
Yep.
that's for the culture. And my history locally and
Mhm.
what people knew me for was like I've been in marketing for 20 years. So
Okay.
when I started, I was doing like party promotions, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
a lot of people when they said, "Oh, they're like Rashad," like it went from I'm inviting you 25 people to this dinner to yo man Rashad or Spit with
Yeah.
yo is having
Yep.
this thing and made people come. People caught the train up from Philly.
Yeah.
Like people came from New York, people came from Boston. Like they was like,
It's
"Oh, he's
crazy.
having a party.
Yep.
I'm going
Come
because my
through.
parties were a thing at that time."
He was
But
the
I
guy.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad it kind of worked out that way because it brought us a bunch of different demographics of people who we probably wouldn't have been able to reach, but all like young black business owners,
Dope.
students, um,
Dope.
business professionals, SVPs of this and that at the time, and also there was a connection because this particular conference started in Philly, and I was
Okay.
a part of the creation of the conference in Philly.
Cool.
So if that's what was there was a connection there.
Got it.
Um, and then it went from that 300 to probably within the first year, we probably had maybe like 1,500 members.
Woo.
Um,
Doing what? Just
so that
doing different events
yeah,
around the country?
so what Forbes of Culture is now is
Yeah.
like the premier black talent
Okay.
incubator in the world. It's the largest one. We got over
Dope.
10,000 members globally.
Okay.
But when we started, it was more so about just creating a space for us to like connect. I always say like our three C's
Yep.
are to like connect, collaborate, and change, right?
I love that.
We connect based on what we have in common and not where we differ. And
Yep.
once we are connected, then we naturally collaborate. It's just what we do as melanated people.
Right.
And that's those two put together is how we change the game. Is you
I
connect and
love
you
it.
collaborate. And that's how we create change. It's how we're able to make change. It's
Yep.
all of these
Yep.
sort of things come from those first two is we got to be connected
Yeah.
before we collaborate. It's like when you get on the call with somebody for the first time, the first few minutes is that intro. That's the connection. It's like what are we talking about? But
Yep.
who are you first? Because
Yep. Let's
I
build
don't do
this
business with
rapport.
strangers.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Exactly.
who is this person that I'm getting on this call
Yeah.
with? So yeah, it went from that to grew to about 1,500 members in a year. Forbes took notice of it. Wanted to talk about how we could potentially work together. That was 2018. It took another year for us to get on the same page, and then 2019 is when we partnered. By that time, we had about maybe 5,000 members
Okay.
by 2019. Um, and then in January of 2020, we started to talk about what our relationship was going to be because that deal was up. So
Okay.
like what was our relationship going to be moving forward if we were going to work together, work as separate entities, and kind of came up with the path forward, which was like creating a Forbes of Culture like department within
Okay.
Forbes that I would be the head of course, and then I will come on as senior vice president of Forbes,
Okay.
and then work across the company, even outside of Forbes of Culture, to make sure that there's more equitable change, not equal, because equality is subjective. It all
Right.
depends on who you ask and if it's something that's equal. But
Right.
it's more about like the equity. Like, are we involved in the creation of these things? Are we
I
involved
like
in these
that.
decisions? Are we a part of the ownership of these ideas
Yeah.
versus just coming to us on, February and August,
Right.
Black History Month and Black Business Month?
Yeah. I don't want to sit at the table. I want some input too.
Well, it's not even I do want to see
Yeah.
at the table, but I also need my own table.
I like it.
So
Yeah.
that's the idea that Forbes the Culture was like created on, because the 25 people that I invited, I was very strategic with
Right.
who I invited, but they were all obviously mouthpieces because they spread the word
Yeah.
within a matter of hours. This was all put together in one day. It's not like I planned it in advance. Something happened in that morning, and somebody said something to me that sparked the idea, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not trying to protest. I don't want to do none of that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
rather us just do something
Right.
that's actually going to be meaningful moving forward. And in a matter of hours is when I put together that first dinner. But those 25 people sat at 25 different
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah.
But we needed to have our own table where we could discuss what we're going to talk about when we get back to those tables.
That's right.
What is it that we want? Like,
Yeah.
what is it that is going to be beneficial to the culture, to Black culture? When I say
Right.
the other culture, I know there's some like confusion about what the culture
What's
is,
the culture mean?
but it's Black culture. I mean, I got that question a lot when we first started.
Right.
When we first got with Forbes,
Okay.
the people outside of our network started to learn about Forbes the culture, and they're like, "Well, we know the Forbes part, but what's the culture?"
What's the
And
culture?
I'm like, "Well, I could break it down for you in many different
That's dope.
ways." But I'm like, turn on your television, turn on your radio, open a newspaper, open a magazine,
Right.
walk down the street, walk in a store, buy some clothes.
Yep.
It's us. It's all
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Everything you do is influenced by us.
We were just talking about back in the day. So like you started at what would you call it? A hip hop site or
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's we can start there. It goes back and
yeah,
forth,
yeah.
but
All
we
right,
can start
go,
there. So
let's go all the way back. Take me all the way back, but then I want to hit on that
okay.
because
I mean, I can
yeah,
skip through and kind of lead up to where that came from.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I started my first business when I was 10. It was like a cleaning
Sure.
business.
Okay.
Just me and it started off with just me, and then I was like cleaning the church. Like,
Okay.
like I just was trying
Yeah.
to help some folks out. My mom is heavy into the church. Shout out to my mom. I'm sure she's watching this.
Shout out, mom.
Mom was heavy into the church, got me heavy into the church. And the thing I noticed, this is kind of crazy because this is like a Black men's health thing
Yeah.
too, because we
Yep.
both Black men.
Yep.
I noticed a lot of the older men was dying, and they weren't that old. Like
Yeah.
like they were older than me because I was like 9 to 10 years
Right.
old, but they were just dying off. All the women were seemed to be relatively
Good.
healthy. So the church that I grew up in, it went from being a bunch of men and women to
Yeah.
mostly women.
Yeah.
But there was stuff that needed to be done. Again, it's not like a gender rule thing, but
Yep.
it was stuff that needed to be done, and I felt like was a man's job, like
Yep.
fixing stuff, cleaning stuff, all of
That's
that.
real.
So I'm like, well, I felt some type of way just because of how I was raised, that I'm like, all these women shouldn't be doing
Shouldn't be
this
doing
by
this.
themselves. Even at the age of 10. Shout out to my mom. She
Good for
did
you.
that.
Yeah.
So
This is a 10-year-old.
so I started cleaning the church
Okay.
on weekends, and then it went from that to like organization and
Dope.
closet organizing and all kinds of stuff. Like I always been good at that.
Okay.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a architect.
Okay.
And I used to play with Legos and all that stuff, Lincoln Logs,
Building,
all
yeah.
that stuff helped to frame my mind around
Right.
like organization, and everything has a
Structure.
place, and put it,
Yep.
yeah, structure and all that. I brought some of my homies
Okay.
into that cleaning business because we started getting these opportunities to clean like other buildings
Spaces.
and
Yep.
churches and all that. And I'm like, well, I can't do this by myself. And I mean, it's better than
Hey.
streets.
Yeah.
So we started doing that for a while. It only lasted like 3 years. I wish I had known then what I do now, because I mean, cleaning business
That could have been a good business.
it could
Yeah.
have been a multi-billion-dollar
Easy.
business by
Easy.
now.
Yep.
And I wanted to rap. So when I
Okay.
turned 13, I was like, I never seen no rappers cleaning churches.
I can't do this.
So I just kind of put that to the side, and they hired somebody
Right.
by then anyway. They just kept me on because they knew I was dedicated.
Right.
Like I was there every weekend faithfully cleaning up before Sunday. And so I started rapping. I went through that whole phase of my life.
Yep.
You know, it's pretty good if I say so myself.
Decent.
Same friends. We formed a rap group. It's called the Hollow Tips. And opposite of the church stuff, right?
It's a different lane.
yeah, completely different lane. And then from the music stuff, I just got a bad taste in my mouth with the music industry.
Okay.
We were, signed with a management company I won't name and some labels that I won't name, and
so
there was some money coming
in. You got deep in the music business.
There was some money coming in that wasn't making it to our pocket. Yeah. Our manager was robbing us blind. Shout out to you because you told me a lesson.
Right.
I learned,
yeah, sounds
early.
Right. Yep.
So that was another 3 years. So that lasted, 13 to I say probably 18 was when I really laid it down. When I graduated high school, I just started writing. So I would write for
other
R&B artists, some rappers, some stuff that made it, some stuff that didn't.
Cool.
But I just wasn't feeling the whole artist thing no more. And it really was. I've had the same group of close friends since I was a kid, and that music stuff it really put a strain on our relationship. And we made a decision that we chose friendship over music. Like we still friends to this day. I
love it. Yeah.
Because it was they were trying to use those industry tactics to divide us.
Yep.
And it's we not even really making no money.
Yeah.
What are we going? What are we?
What are we fighting over?
Yeah. It's kind of it was very strange.
Right.
So we stopped doing the music thing, but then it's we got an audience. We had fans.
We got to use this for something.
Well, we sold probably more merch than we sold mixtapes. That was my first foray into marketing.
Okay.
I was the marketing director for our group.
Yeah.
So everything that we did headbands, wristbands, we did dog tags, we did t-shirts, long sleeve and short sleeve, scullies, hats, socks, everything. Just anything that we could sell. T-shirts was our main thing because everybody was wearing the big oversized t-shirts. And our logo was kind of dope. So we sold a bunch of those. I designed all the mixtape covers. All
so you
were
always creative.
Yeah, it was in the market. I knew how to sell things. I just feel like I always knew how to
move.
How to sell things and move product. And so we had this audience and we're we can't sell merch anymore.
What's
another
next?
missed opportunity because we could have just sold the merch.
Yeah.
But I'm we can't sell merch if we're not putting out music. So I was what do we motivate our audience to do? Well, let's just throw parties. So we started throwing house parties.
We got a following. We got the people.
We started throwing house parties for a while until we got caught. I mean, we kept getting the cops called on us.
Oh, damn.
And when I say we got caught, I don't even mean by the cops. I mean by my Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
Yeah, and that was worse than the cops.
Uncle Mike worse. And them.
I never forget, and I promise I'll get back to the story. But I always think about this part. I never forget. I came outside to come and get somebody from the crib, and my Uncle Mike, he had the big body BMW.
Okay.
And he was sitting on his car with his leg crossed. I was like, oh shit. This is not good at all. I'm like, hey.
What's up, Uncle?
What's up? He's like, come here. I'm like,
oh shit.
I'm like, yo, I promise, we not doing nothing. He was like, listen, you got a good thing here, but it's somebody I want you to meet. You doing this all wrong.
Man.
So he introduced me to, I don't know if I should say this name or not because I was underage, but
go ahead.
He introduced me to one of the club owners in Old City.
Okay.
If you know me, then you know who it was because y'all was there.
Cool.
And I ended up taking that audience into the club scene. So I started running Old City from that club to the club across the street from it to the ones around the corner.
And that's
y'all
when
was there, y'all know.
You were 18?
I was not 18. I was 17, 18-ish.
So I used
probably was 18 by this time. Now that I think about it, I think I was 18 by then.
So I used to throw parties in Old City, and I didn't come to Old City until I had come to Atlanta. So we threw parties in the A, came back up top, and had our crowd from the HBCU thing. But I was well over 18. I might have been close to 21. You weren't 8. But look, that's the hustle. That's a hustle.
It was
spirit.
the kind of like I mean the thing was it was like he's like, yo, you not making no real money. We was throwing dollar parties.
Right.
He like y'all don't even have enough money to bail all of y'all out of jail if they come if they come shut this down for real. And we was using my man's sister crib. I hope this not snitching because I'm sure she know by now. But we was using her crib when like she when she was out of town. He's like, yo, if she come home, like, she know, she know y'all, and y'all like all her little brothers, but that is only going to go so far when you in somebody's crib. Like, if something get broken, if somebody get hurt, he just ran down all the stuff that I really hadn't thought about.
Right.
I just was thinking about the money.
Right. But then you go start throwing parties in Old City, and now the money's coming.
Yeah. So at the same time, is another thing was a lot of artists was hitting me up like for features or for when y'all drop a new mixtape and all this other stuff, and I'm like, yo, I'm not a rapper. Like I'm not, it's not my thing. I'm
not a rapper.
And my rap name was Spit. Right. My homies from when like the whole Apple iMac and all that stuff started coming out, because again I was always the marketing guy, but back then the computer stuff it made you a nerd. Yeah. So they used to call me iSpit as a joke, like iPhone, iMac. They were like they had a question about something. They were like, man, call iSpit, like he know. So then from saying I am not a rapper over and over and over and over.
That's your new name.
Then that started to stick. Yeah. So then the website became I am not a rapper, I spit .com. And it started off with just like I kind of had a couple different ideas for what I wanted to do with that particular site. At first I wanted to just like spread information because I felt like I would have to trick people into reading. Because people read even less now, but they really wasn't reading then either. So what I tried to do was I put music. I would put movies, TV shows, like anything to get people to drive traffic to the site.
Nice little blog.
And it's like once I got you, then I got you.
You went here.
Because once you're there, then you're there. And then on my birthday one year, this was going back into the whole thing. And I think I might have mentioned this part already before, but the site did numbers because I wasn't focused on like local traffic.
We were talking about it before we got on. I hope we got it.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to have like every local rapper, and I wasn't trying to lean on that.
Right.
I was going after a global audience because I knew about the internet and its global reach since I was even young. Like even when I was talking about when I was like 12 and 13, all that, I was downloading music. I was on Napster. I was, all
you were
that
a
stuff.
little ahead of your time.
Yeah. So I knew that the internet, and I figured out how to work the ads very early. That's the only reason I spent so much time on it, because I was making a killing.
Recouping.
This is before they started that like the CPC mafia. It was like Google ads. I'm selling ads to the local brands, and I was charging. Man, these numbers y'all getting now is I was charging way more than I was supposed to be before Google created the standard and like messed the game up. Because nobody really knew.
From Echo back in the day. Bro, they were making a killing.
Yo, shout out to what was that? Diamond Furs.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody. Thank y'all so much. Couldn't have did it without you. But yeah, just those. So from the site, our traffic was crazy. We were doing
good as a young boy.
Probably a month. We might have been doing 100 around about. And that was like actual traffic. I'm not talking like the funnels, because it was a higher number than that. But at that time, they hadn't really figured out how to separate bots from the regular stuff, and I could And I could tell from our Google alerts that a lot of the stuff that we were getting was bots, because it would be like, I post a story and now I see it reposted the
Somewhere else.
exact same way in 50 different places.
Right.
But that still drives us traffic. So I didn't care.
Take it.
But I wanted to know how many real people we had.
Gotcha.
So one day is on my birthday.
Okay.
We were talking about podcasting. So all the podcasts that I listened to at that time, because podcasting did exist then, but they were all white.
It was just getting started.
There was one Black podcaster, and I kind of skipped over another part of my career, but I used to work in radio. I worked under Star and Buck Wild. Stars who actually kind of put me on.
Okay.
And Star had introduced me to Combat
Star's still
Jack.
going. They both still going.
Shout out to Star. Shout out to man. Star is, listen, you won't never get me to say nothing bad about Star. Star put me on when they didn't believe in us. Star did.
I love it. Star did
for real, like put me on.
Love it.
And I was like, oh wait, there's a space in here for us.
Yeah.
So on my birthday one year, my homie Blair and I and Kevin, it's like, let's just press record and see what happens.
Do it.
And we were only supposed to record. I think we set the time for like 20 minutes. And
how long
we looked
up,
it was like 3.5 hours later, and we were still just laughing, talking, cracking up. And I found that clip recently. That audio is terrible, man. Podcast has come a long way.
Blair, your first podcast,
that audio was
trash.
I'm like, man,
he came a long way.
Came a long way.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was like, yo, we got something here. Like, this could be something.
Yeah.
So we did it a couple more times as tests, but those tests actually became like our first season.
Yeah.
So
get out the way.
Yeah. So, and we developed a formula.
Yep.
So like over the course of Podcast Wednesdays, which is what the name became, because at that time, podcasting wasn't a large market. So all the podcasts came out on Wednesdays.
Okay.
So I looked at what the most popular search terms were, and it was Podcasts and Wednesdays.
Done.
I was like, well, that's the name of the show. Now, at first it was the I Am Not a Rapper, I Spit podcast, and I was like,
yeah. Podcast Wednesdays.
And we changed the Podcast Wednesdays, and then we was off to the races. We did like 60,000 a week, and we did every week. If we took a week off, we was getting cussed out on Twitter.
Damn.
We started integrating music into it, so we did music breaks. So and it's funny because I was just describing this formula to somebody
Joe Budden, they beat you. Sorry, Joe.
No, it's funny. I just was talking about this with my homie Chill earlier, and I was like, when we did the podcast, the format was once we kind of found our niche. The format was, we had an intro, a couple of like funny intros. And then we would lead into either, at first we would use like the theme song from like a popular TV show. From like the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yep.
And then after that, we just started using clips from movies. Or just like our favorite scenes. We would like record it, edit it, turn the audio up, fix it, smooth it out. It was before you could rip stuff off of YouTube.
Right.
Because I'm sure it's much easier now. But we would, but like I went in like full audio production mode.
Love it.
And we would do that, and then we would start off with talking for like a couple minutes, and then we would go into like a music break, and then we would come back with the what we would call the long segment. And then we would go into another music break, and then we do another ending segment, and then we would play like two, 3 songs at the end. I'm at the end. So it was like a radio show, but we would call it radio on demand. And going back to the whole blog thing, I mentioned I mentioned the whole like network and how I wanted to create a network. So I saw early in podcasting, this was maybe 2010. I was like, yo, I want to create a podcast network. Because I hadn't seen anybody do it, and not successfully, and the infrastructure just wasn't there. Because when I created this podcast network, we created the female version of like Podcast Wednesdays. So one of our hosts was a woman. We pulled her off of the show and made her have her own show because we wanted to have a Black woman's podcast, and we called it Ladies First. So Ladies First was the first show on our network. But it was like both of the shows were coming out under our network. It's funny because you mentioned Joe. Like Joe had a similar issue.
Right.
When Joe first started the Joe Button Network, it was See the Thing Is, and it was another podcast, but you could only get them under the Joe Button podcast thing. It wasn't called the Joe Button Network.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, I need to have a place where I can have multiple shows with multiple names.
Yeah.
So then we started a website.
Okay.
So then we were like, all right, well, now we can serve it from here. But of course, that's not as powerful as the podcast app. So those shows kind of like fell off. And then it didn't really last because it wasn't, at that time, it wasn't sustainable. And I kind of like my marketing company, which is what, I'm like skipping all over the place, but
it's all good.
From the party stuff, that was not like, it wasn't sustainable, because if you know anything about being a promoter, is you got to be there, and not just at your parties, but then you got to go out to other people's parties and promote and show them love, because otherwise they say, oh, well, you never come to my stuff, so
you never came through. We got to collaborate. Yeah, I mean, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's work.
Yeah.
Hashtag let's work, bro. So I kind of was like, I got to get out of this. So I started working with some of the other promoters. Again, I'm not gonna put nobody's business out there, but some of the older promoters didn't know how to use the internet really. And they were proud of that. It was like, man, that's that nerd shit.
They didn't think it was coming.
And I was cool with that. Right. So I used to run their MySpace pages. I used to run their Facebook page. I used to, you know how you now around your birthday, how you get a message from some like promoter that says, yo, come to my party, I'll give you a free bottle and bring three
post this, free. Post your photo.
I invented that.
This is the guy, you're the guy?
I apologize because I can't control it now, but I definitely invented that. I was the first person that did it in a digital way, because now I would go on Facebook and find when everybody's birthday was, and I would just have my interns just like, yo, go message everybody from my account. And then I kind of duplicated it, and I would give that to my clients. So if I'm running your promo, if I'm running your digital promo strategy, now I'm doing all the same stuff that I do for me. I'm doing it for you, and they just paying me whatever. What they didn't realize, again, I can reveal this now because I don't care. I had this guy named Clifford. He built me a bot.
Okay.
So I wasn't really doing a lot of this stuff. I just programmed it to do the stuff on MySpace. They used to have something called the Wall.
Yep.
And what was the
you had all your little like
what was the thing that was the timeline before the timeline on MySpace?
I thought
it was like
a
place that was like
8.
constant. No. It was like constantly like you could go in there. I think that. Was that the Wall? I don't know. It was like a thing where you could go in there. It was like the top 8, and then it was like that. Yeah, like your stream or whatever. Yeah, and it was constantly doing that. So he built me a bot for that. So then I would just put in what I wanted to post, how often I wanted to post, how many times a day, and it would just do
clockwork.
Yeah, and we sold so many of those bots because once I started using it, I'm like, I don't know all the promoters in the world. Right. So the only way I could duplicate myself is by just selling the bot. Like if you can figure it out, it was literally, it was all GUI. It was no code. So like you could just literally type. You didn't have to know code like how when you use MySpace, you kind of had to know code a little bit. Yeah. Same with like Black Planet, all that is you kind of had to know how to code stuff. With this, it was like upload the picture, put in the thing, log in, and then we would give them a warning. Like, look, if you go over this number a day, they might block you.
It's going to cut you.
But whatever, go for what you know.
Copy, paste.
And man, we sold a lot of those. Damn. So that was kind of like my first digital marketing thing. And then I realized that this is bigger than party promotion. So I started my marketing company. It was I Spit Marketing at first.
Dope.
And then went from I Spit Marketing to Sporty Marketing when I brought my brother in as my partner. Shout out to Lil. So my dad's nickname was Sporty. So we just changed it to Sporty Marketing. And then 2012, I think this was. Cause I also left out. I had a corporate day job, so I was working during the day and throwing parties at night. I left my job in 2009.
Okay.
I decided I was going to leave on November 4th, 2008. That's the last time I threw a party myself.
Okay.
Now this part I can't reveal. It was me and Rick Lowe. We did a party called "My President Is Black,"
Okay.
and I don't know if this. I mean, this is. I might be the only person to admit it because everybody says like, "Oh, I knew," but I didn't think he was going to win. I just didn't believe it.
I didn't think he was
I'm
gonna
not.
win.
I lived in America my whole life, and I don't believe in it.
None of us really believed
So
it, though.
I didn't think he was going to win. I thought. Well, I don't want to say what I thought, but I didn't think he was going to win.
Yeah.
So the night, I'm like, at least we could make some money off of this.
Right. Right.
And at the time, I didn't know that was going to be my last
Playing
party.
Jeezy in the background. Yeah.
No, we all night long.
Yeah.
Like we probably played the Jeezy song. I don't know, probably 10 or 15 times in the first few hours. And we did it at this club on Front and Market. I can't remember the name of it because it's not there no more. But it was one of the only clubs that had screens on both sides and it was mirrors. So no matter which way you turn, you could see the TV.
Yeah.
And I just started seeing like
what was on Front and Market? Well,
yeah,
what was on Front and Market?
Front and Market.
I don't know.
I could find the flyer and I'll send it to you.
That's all good.
It was like right past the train station.
Cool.
So I see the things coming. It's like Ohio, North Carolina, this place, that place.
Yeah.
And it was like all blue. And I'm
Damn.
like, what the hell is happening?
Right.
Is this boy really about to become president?
Yeah.
Like, and
shit's wild.
When they I think they called it maybe like 11 something.
Yep.
Like some of the stations started calling it early because it was obvious that
he was guaranteed. Yeah,
it was like a landslide.
He won one. Yep.
Yeah, it was like a landslide. It's not like he barely he
won.
He took. So I was like, wow, and
this shit is real.
And like it hit me. I had a real like emotional moment. Like,
hell yeah.
Oh, this is like a thing. Like this is really happening.
Yep.
So I was like, all right. Well, I don't want to throw parties no more. That's for sure. Like this is it for that. Like I got to find something else to do.
Yep.
And I might have had something in my eye a little bit, so I went outside to go and like get some air, and I could hear like singing in the distance.
Yeah,
it was weird because they was coming down Market Street.
Yeah,
and I think they had blocked off all the streets because I guess they were preparing for a win or a loss.
Yeah,
a win, riot, a loss, riot, whatever.
Either way,
it was people marching down Market Street, arm in arm, singing, "We have overcome." Not we shall.
Yeah,
and I was like,
we have overcome.
No, we haven't.
right. We still got work.
I'm like, I got to find something better to do with my time because this ain't it. So I decided that I was going to leave my corporate job and go full time into my marketing company.
Okay.
So I still had the podcast, like all this different stuff going on. So when I left my job, it kind of was like, all right, I worked a couple of like temp jobs once that was over, just to kind of learn the infrastructure of these different companies. But I was seemingly a full-time entrepreneur from
you weren't going back
2009 until 2020 when I went to Forbes,
and then became the SVP.
Yeah, but
straight like that.
Yeah, but I went, like, the reason I went back in the story is because I don't want to make it seem like I had this figured out all along. I did a lot of different stuff. I went in a lot of different directions until I actually figured out what I was trying to do. So that was when I got more into like the behind the scenes promotion stuff.
Okay.
I had I kind of had it like templated where I knew what to do. Parties on this day, I start on this day, I do this amount of promos, I book this many birthdays for them, and they're gonna be good, and they're gonna be happy. They're gonna keep paying. Oh, and that's another thing. My money was guaranteed. Excuse me.
I love it.
My money was guaranteed, so I didn't care if nobody showed up.
Exactly.
Like if they showed up or not, which is different from when I was on the promotion side.
You sitting there waiting, hoping that people are coming to your party that night.
On the promotion side, if it rains, then you like, rain ain't gonna stop us.
Look,
like, no, yes, it will.
Is,
nobody's coming.
But it is.
But when I was on the back end side, by the time the party happened, I was paid already.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, good luck.
All Gucci.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said, or I love the fact that you took us through all the background, because I think before there's a breakdown that has to happen before the breakthrough, right? So let's fast forward because you said all these things happened and then Forbes. Like, so I'm still thinking, okay, now you started catching the eye of Forbes. Like, how does that come together?
So how I got connected to Forbes was in 2014.
Okay.
No, 2013. So was in the marketing space and all of that. One of my clients was technically locally is called Technically Philly, but they do Philly Tech Week.
Got it.
So I was working with Philly Tech Week as like a digital consultant. So I will go around to all the different like Philly Tech Week is like spread out all over the city.
Right. Yep.
Well, not all over the city.
Downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah. Downtown.
All over downtown Philly.
Yeah.
So I would go to like the different events and take pictures and do like a little recap.
Okay.
And I would like post it on like social media. This was like, I guess it was like influencer stuff now, what they would call it.
Yeah.
And I knew of this lady named Desiree Peter Kimbell. I knew about her because she worked on the first Obama campaign.
Okay.
She basically got him elected president. She made Michael Bloomberg a mayor.
Yeah.
She made Cory Booker a mayor and then a senator. Like, she was like a kingmaker.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to do that. Like, I need to learn how to do that.
Right.
I got to find this lady. And again, this was early on, so you couldn't really stalk people on the internet.
Right. How do I find her?
The way you can now. Everybody's email wasn't published and all that other stuff.
Nah.
So I just so happened that she was speaking at one of the Philly Tech Week events. Okay. And they wanted me to go to this other event. And I called an audible. And I went to that event. And at the end of the event, I met her and I was like, yo, great talk.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that.
Okay.
So I'm like, great talk. I would love for you to be my mentor. I got like straight to the point. And she was like, me?
Huh? Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I just want you to mentor me. She's like, what? You know who I am?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. She's like, how?
Right.
And I started explaining to her. I'm like, I did my research.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. So what do you do?
Right.
I left out a part that in 2010 I started a water company. So I was what I asked her for was to be able to help me to like get the water in the hands of different people, some of her clients. And I wanted to learn about her role in like relationship equity.
Got it.
Was what I asked for. That was the main thing. Is I want to learn how to maintain these
relationships.
These sort of relationships. And the reason why she was here is she had just moved to Philly. Okay. She was the deputy mayor. She got Mayor Nutter.
Okay. Yeah.
So like the first thing was I was like, I'm gonna send you a case of water to your office. It's called Cerebellum H2O. It was the only all natural alkaline water on the market at that.
Was that you and Chill?
So I did a Nice Things edition of the water with Chill.
Got it. Chill Moody's his guy. So okay, cool.
So when he was doing that,
that makes sense.
So I sent her a case of water to the up to the office. Okay. She gave it out to people, got me a bunch of clients, and we just stayed in contact. I stayed in contact. I'm
cool. She's busy.
Desiree was very busy, and I used to bother her all the time. And she'll tell you, we just talked about this earlier. Like, I used to bother her all the time. Like, so I do not like. I learned early on that I don't mind being annoying. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all.
It's all about surrounding yourself with the right people, right?
So I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna just keep calling you until I get through.
I'm gonna keep knocking on this door.
Her assistant, her admin knew me by first name every time I called. She's like,
I love it.
Hi, Rashad. She's not here right now, or she's in a meeting.
Right.
So when time came, Forbes had in 2010. Also, Forbes created the 30 under 30 list. Namely, Randall Lane created the 30 under 30 list. But the 30 under 30 list, it didn't have an event. It just was a list.
Okay.
So they were looking at Philly as the place to create
And I remember this
30 Under 30 summit.
Yep.
So in 2013, they were having a meeting about it, and Desiree invited me to come to the meeting. Her and Mike, Mayor Nutter. I'm sorry, Mike Nutter.
He just called Mayor Nutter Mike. That's cool.
Her and Mike were having a meeting with Randall, and they invited me to come.
Okay.
and they invited me to come into the meeting. I knew, like, mayors before they're mayors are council people, and before they're council people, they're just
they
people.
work for us. Yeah, they're regular people.
So I know these people.
Respect.
Shout out
Mike.
to James and all.
Alan. It's just Alan. It's Alan. It's Alan Dopp. I mean, he might be the next mayor. He might not be. I don't know. It's just Alan. He sells real estate. We sell real estate together.
He got money, so
he's definitely got money.
Yeah,
so
very possible.
I think it might work for him. I know some other guys running, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, let's see. It's all gonna come down to who got the most money.
Who's got the money? He got the money.
Politics.
Yeah.
But so I get invited to this meeting, and they say, like, we know, like, they had already met with him before.
Yep.
And they are in the process of, like, negotiating this, and they're like, if you're looking to tap into the young entrepreneurs in the city, this is the guy you need to talk to. So
he's the guy.
So I met Randall almost immediately, asked him to become my mentor too, because people don't really know Randall's history. Like, they know him as this amazing journalist. He's one of the best journalists I've ever met. Like, his writing is incredible.
Do you have him writing for Forbes?
Huh?
You have him writing for you guys?
Randall is the chief content officer of Forbes.
Oh,
like, he's the guy that brought me into Forbes, right?
Oh, this makes sense.
Yeah,
oh,
he's been a journalist for probably 30 years.
Okay,
so,
connecting the dots.
Yeah,
all right, gotcha.
So Randall, I remember he sent me something recently. This is off story, but he sent me something recently that he wrote in, like, I don't know, like 1999 or something. And I'm like, man, this is better than some of the stuff that I'm reading now. Like, this is incredible.
Right.
This is really, really good.
I love it.
Anywho, so I meet him, ask him to become my mentor, but this is in the process of us working together, like of us, like, developing what this 30 Under 30 summit is going to look like. 30 Under 30 conference, I think it's called in Philly. It was at the convention center.
Yeah,
I think it's honestly, it's the last one that took place in a convention center. Like, the first two in Philly are the last two to be in a convention center. But I basically brought together all of the young Black entrepreneurs in Philly at the time, all the people that I was mentoring, all of the, like, my peers and mentees. If you name it, they were there.
So you were the 30 Under 30 guy. I remember. So I used to work for Urban Outfitters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I literally was like,
right there.
Yeah, right there. Like, wait, what is this 30 Under 30 thing?
Yeah, nobody
feel like
knew,
I should be.
Yeah, nobody knew what it was. They didn't know it was Forbes. So that was one of the things that changed after the first one was the branding was different.
Right.
Because it was just a 30 Under 30 summit or 30 Under 30 conference, assuming that everybody knew that it was Forbes. And they didn't know.
We had no idea.
So we did that. Then it came back another year. Okay. And so 2015. So
another
2014.
Yeah.
2014 was the first one. 2015 was the second one. And then how can I tell this transition piece? Let's just say that we got a new regime in Philly. They didn't see eye to eye on the way that we wanted to do stuff, and then it moved out to Boston.
Gotcha.
Which leads into that's 2016, 15, and then 2017 is when I started Forbes the Culture in Boston during that summit. But my contract was up in 2015, so I was no longer working with Forbes. I just was an attendee. I just was there.
So were you just freelancing? You were continuing your marketing thing at that point?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
There's always, like, I'm real big on there. I feel like there's always a break that down before the breakthrough. And I love that. Like, okay, we fell off for a couple of years, but we came right back. I love that. That's dope to me. And then, my guys. So, my guy Fax, for the culture. For the Culture and Forbes the Culture somehow found their way together.
Very, very early, day one, like day two, I guess. I guess I would say.
Yeah.
The night of the first Forbes the Culture dinner.
Yep.
invited 25 people, 300 people show up.
Yep.
I told that part, that story.
Yep.
The next day I woke up and I look in the WhatsApp group and there's like over 1,000 messages. Everybody, Forbes the culture, Forbes the culture, Forbes the culture.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? And then I scroll up and I look at a video of me giving a toast and I see that I said it. And I was like, I didn't even remember saying it.
I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah.
And I was like, I like it. So I text Facts. Yo, you busy? Yeah, why? I'm like,
shut up, Daryl.
I need something. Like I need a logo.
Yeah.
Like, how soon you need it? I'm like, yesterday apparently.
Yeah.
So he's like, what you need it to look like? I gave him some colors. I gave him a model. I sent him some screenshots. He was like, all right, bet. A few hours later, he sent it to me. We went through like a couple different versions.
Right.
By the next day, we was locked in. I was like, all right, I need some shirts, hats, all that, blah, blah, blah. We started doing, I started merchandising. And that's really how it spread was through the merch. Excuse me.
And that's the dope. So the dope part to me is like you've already gone down this road before as a teenager. So, all right, I know how to do this now.
I left out the whole period of my high school business. Like when we were selling merch, I was selling T-shirts in school, but not Hollow Tips merch. Like I was just selling white T-shirts because my homie put me on. Shout out to rest in peace, Maul.
Yeah,
he put me on to the wholesale game, and I would go up to the Fifth and Alany. And go see Mike, and I would go get boxes of T-shirts. And I would sell them in high school, and I got accused of selling drugs because they're like, where you get all this cash?
Where you get all this money from?
And I was like renting lockers. I'll tell a quick side story. I had a locker on the first floor. It was too close to the principal's office. So it was three floors in my school, and I rented a locker on each floor. And every morning,
where'd you go to high school?
Load up Bartram Motivation. Shout out to Mo. Bartram gang. So I went to Bartram Motivation. So I rented a locker on every floor. I paid them $5 a week to let me use their locker because they wasn't using it. Nobody really had, like, a lot of our stuff was like in class work. Like we spent so much time working in class that we didn't have much homework unless it was a project. So I would fill the locker up with T-shirts, and then by the end of the day, I'd be sold out every day.
Hell yeah!
Because people would, this is the craziest thing to think about going back to that whole like black culture fuse the world thing. Like people would come to school in a T-shirt. By lunchtime, they would want to buy another T-shirt
because that joint would be dirty.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, they would want to leave school with another fresh T-shirt. So I might sell 2 T-shirts to the same person a day. Easy, but like bare minimum. And then I got the good quality joints. I got the free size joints. The size. Shout out to Side, whoever that is.
I remember.
Whoever that company is, because I never met anybody that ever worked there.
The neckline was crisp.
The neck was crisp. Like it was. Listen, they don't even know. They don't
it's
know.
A Philly thing.
They didn't believe in the Side did.
We would come down to Atlanta. That's the crazy part. So like, it's a different hustle spirit with promoters. Anybody who used to sell T-shirts. I didn't have to sell drugs. I didn't have to hustle. Bro, I was always good. I went into college with, I did like other things. Like I worked in restaurants and stuff, but like,
I did that too.
Bro, like I made so much money in college before I even promoted off of T-shirts. Bro.
T-shirts, mixtapes, all that.
Easy.
Shout out to the mixtape game.
Shout out to, Fifth and Lindley. All those warehouses.
Everybody. They fueled us. So all of that, I had this in my mind. I knew how even going beyond the T-shirts, I discovered BJ's pretty early and started selling candy, chips, like again,
like
this is
little things,
another invention that's from my brain. But when you go to the corner store, well now I don't know if they still do it, but and you could go and get like an assorted bag of candy and they would sell it.
For $1.
It started here first.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would go to BJ's and put together the craziest assortment of candies and sell them for $1.
I respect it.
Yeah.
It's
penny candies is what they call
it. Penny candies back in the day. They don't even have those anymore.
Oh yeah.
My
sure
kids, I feel like,
nothing costs a penny.
You got
nothing is a penny anymore. Pennies ain't even a penny anymore.
But I love the story. I love the fact that you found these mentors along the way, and now you've built this brand. You collaborated with Facts, which is crazy. And my guy Jared, who went to Morehouse with me. The collaboration piece and the mentorship piece, is that what you attribute to your success? Or is it, now that you've taken off, like, I feel like a lot of people are going to watch this and be inspired, and we're going to have you back, because there's a lot of, like, this is probably going to be one of my longest episodes where, like, we jumping around, but, like, we're going to have to get into more. What was the point that you realized this Forbes thing was something, or you were going somewhere else? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs have this, like, come to Jesus moment or this epiphany. For me, it's not even an epiphany. It's more like, are you going to do this or not?
Exactly.
And I don't know, for you, you already had that Forbes connection. When was it that you knew that this was a thing?
That I knew that Forbes the culture was a thing.
Yeah.
My publicist would probably hate me for this, and like I'm probably gonna get cussed out. But like I kind of would say I'm still figuring it out. If I would say any point, I would say maybe 2 or 3 days ago when it was our 5-year anniversary. Congrats. And I really look back at the last 5 years, and I'm like, wow.
You like, just had a celebration. Yeah, shit.
It's like even with that. So you mentioned Facts. Like I know Facts through my man Twan D. Antoine Davis, and through Andamo, who I went to high school with. Like, so it's like those are the connections. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like connection leads to collaboration.
Hell yeah.
Leads to change.
I love it.
So I don't have people say often that, like, they're like, oh man, you like the most humble dude I know, because of their perception of me versus my personal perception. Like, I feel like I've been doing this shit my whole life. So it's like, it's not really, it's just the next level of what I'm doing. But I don't look at myself like other people look at me. So I don't think I've had that moment where I'm like, I made it. Because I'm still.
You're still hustling. Yeah.
Because what I'm focused on, what I'm actually focused on trying to do, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And it changes over time. Right. Like I graduate into one level and then I'm like, yeah, but what about this?
Yeah.
So I take the moments, like I took the time to actually celebrate the 5-year milestone, because Black businesses don't last that long.
Like, don't. And they're not that many of us either. Yeah.
And you're done. Yeah. Like we just talked about all of those blogs that are gone. Like a lot of the local businesses, or like we could name, I'll probably rattle off stores that and restaurants and that they didn't last, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that we're still here, I'm extremely grateful for that. And I guess I could take that as a moment. Like when I woke up on the 2nd, I was like, damn, 5 years, that's crazy. And I was moving on to, like, it was like 5 seconds. And I was like, all right, let's get ready for, blah, blah, blah. Because I was kind of like, I'm always kind of thinking like you mentioned earlier, like, oh, you always have been ahead of the game. Because I'm always trying to see what's the next thing that's coming. So like everybody now is focused on Web3. I'm trying to look at what's coming after. Like what's going to come after everybody finally does adopt this, and like the Oculus costs $10 because it's a part of everyday life. Then what's everybody going to be thinking about now? What's the next thing? Like which planet are we going to next? Like those are the sort of things that I'm trying to figure out, because I don't like surprises.
I love
in that way. Like I like good surprises, but I don't like surprises like, yo, slavery's back, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. Like it's like wait, where did that come from? Like how did this get by me? You see what I'm saying? So,
I love it.
Just stuff like that. I just try to be prepared.
A step ahead. So he just got done the Kings of Culture event. You're gonna have to tell us a little bit about that before we roll, and we're gonna have to have you back. But it blows my mind slightly. I think that's how all entrepreneurs think, though. Successful entrepreneurs is I'm never here yet.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like you're saying. Like, I mean, you wouldn't be a successful business if you just stopped.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you celebrate. Okay, we had our 5 years, but now what's next?
Yeah, cause now I'm like, yo, what's our 10-year gonna look like? Or I said to somebody over the weekend, and they laughed at me.
Yeah,
and I was like, yo, our 50-year celebration is gonna be crazy.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Hell
I got a
yeah.
vision in my head. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Right, right.
But I'm what I talk about most often as it relates to the Forbes of Culture is my 2050 plan, right?
Yep. Okay.
So, Forbes of Culture started in 2017, so that was 33 years ahead of where we were at the time. But I'm like, I see what's happening.
Yep.
And I have my black belt in Six Sigma.
Okay.
So my brain works in the reverse. Like I start at the outcome and then work my way back to the outside.
I love that. The vision first. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, where are we trying to go, or where do we need to go? And then now how do we get there? So it's like 2050, all right, 2049, 2048, 2047, all the way back to now 2022. Yeah. And I've had to make adjustments along the way. Like who knew Agent Orange was going to become president? Like I didn't see that coming, but it's like things that I've made. Win a second term. Sorry, like those are the things that I was trying to make adjustments for.
Right.
In the meantime, but now it's like, all right, what is like? How do we make it so that we incorporate all of these things that are happening outside of my plan into the plan and still stay on track to hit where we need to go as a people by 2050, so we don't end up back.
How do we adjust so that we can still hit our trajectory?
Absolutely.
I love it. We just talked about Agent Orange. We were talking about our guy Kanye. Before we leave, what do you...
Yeah, shout out to Kanye, man.
I'm praying for him.
Yeah, I feel like... Well, what was your question first?
So first, I feel like first I need to figure out a way to get you in Forbes of Culture, and so I'm on a school board, so we got to figure out how to. We'll talk about some DEI stuff.
So we're speaking of school, we'll be launching. I'm trying to figure out when now. It was supposed to be 2023. It might be 2024 now because again we make those adjustments along the way. But a part of that 2050 plan is FTC Junior and FTC University. Okay. So FTC Junior will start in I'm in 7th grade, and so you would be able to join in 7th grade, get the supplementary educational tools you need to become a successful entrepreneur, a business professional that you aren't getting in public school. That will carry you up into your junior year of high school, where you would become starting in your senior year, you would join FTC University, and that's whether you plan on going to college or not. Because even if you're in technical school, you still need those supplemental tools. And then once you graduate from FTC University, then you become a full-fledged Forbes of Culture member. So I would love to get involved. Like what we can't wait until they are graduating high school or picking high school or even in 8th grade to try to help people figure out a life path or a life plan, right? There are some cultures that they start this type of planning when the kid is born, or like even before the kid is born. They've got every year mapped out, right? They know they're adding them to their credit card to bump their credit score. They're like all of these things are done early on, but our youth don't often get those opportunities. So we're playing catch up. I don't want us to play catch up no more.
I like that.
Like I know no more catch up. Yeah. So
I'm all about this. We need these are the discussions we need to have because
absolutely
I think this is perfect. I mean
because now we connected.
Exactly.
We're gonna collaborate. See?
I like that. I love it. There's some bros that went to Morehouse, the AUC with me that I feel like we're a step ahead. There was like Dallas, who's an A&R. They're like
Dallas.
Yeah, there's certain cats that were just like you knew they had the plan, and they just look, they're out of here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now that we're connected, we're gonna collaborate. We're gonna make it happen.
Absolutely. And speaking of Morehouse, another piece is the HBCU campus chapters.
Yeah.
So one of the first things when I got to Forbes was that we now exclusively take all of our interns from HBCUs,
I
which
love
wasn't the
that.
case before.
Cool.
Because it's important to have
Yeah.
that representation. Like the next generation of
Yeah.
journalists should be able to tell
It's
stories
huge. Yeah.
from our perspective. It should be Black journalists, and even beyond that, that HBCU campus chapters. So
Yeah.
like Forbes of Culture has 20 chapters right now, three
Okay.
three international, 17 across the U.S.
Wow.
And we're looking to tap into the HBCU campuses
Huge.
because one of the things that I've seen, just sort of like, you know, when we talk about prison and like
Yeah.
the recidivism rate is like you get out of prison and you end up going back
Going
'cause
back.
you don't
Yeah.
have a support system.
Yep.
It's the same thing when you get to college.
Yeah.
If you never left your city, if you never left your town, like where we are right now,
Yeah.
we are
It's tough.
surrounded by people who have
Yeah.
never left their neighborhood, right?
Yep.
And because of that, you don't understand what it's like to be in these different environments
Exactly.
and how to like adapt and adjust. So the campus chapters, we plan to create a support system.
Yeah. Support.
So that you don't drop out in your first semester or your second semester
That's
or
dope.
even your first year.
Yeah.
Now you got other people who you can lean on
Yeah.
to help you to stay.
I love that. I love that.
So yeah.
It's a struggle. And that's so dope. All right. So Morehouse has a journalism program. Spike Lee.
Yeah, we tapped into it.
Yeah. So that
we pulled. I think we had maybe 3 Morehouse journalists in this last cohort.
Okay.
It's only during the summer, which I'm working on now. I'm trying to expand it.
Cool.
We just don't want to distract the students from their actual studies, but I want something that I'm working on now. If anybody's listening, and
IO Spike, let's talk.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm calling out Spike Lee, but IO, you can call Spike and we can make it happen. Yeah. Let's figure it out. That's dope. Yeah. I feel like we could talk a whole long time, but I want you to drop for any entrepreneurs, for anybody who is starting their journey, any gems that you want to drop on them, and then next time we're gonna get more into the back half of your story because I think you began, but you didn't.
I skipped a lot of
stuff.
I just gave a little bit of tidbits here.
And we got to get Blair in here next time too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, we should do a full podcast on Podcast Wednesdays. Oh man, the racial draft. Oh Jesus Christ, I'm so damn you cancel culture because I would bring another podcast back, but they got me scared to death.
Dog, let's
Jim. So a book. I give you a book. And Norman, I'm coming for you. I'm telling you, man, I want my money. But Dr. Norman Deutsch, he has this book called The Brain That Changes Itself. I mentioned it in every interview, and probably anybody who always asks me, like, oh, what's your favorite book? It's my favorite book, but I don't know him. I never met the guy. But he owe me a lot of book sales because I probably sold 1,000 books for him.
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
The Brain That Changes Itself is about the science of neuroplasticity.
Okay.
And how you hear people use terms like, oh, I'm set in my ways, I'm stuck in my ways, but that's not how our bodies actually work.
Okay.
The only way that you are stuck in your ways or set in your ways is if you decide to be
stuck in your ways.
If you decide that you can't change,
then
you won't change. If you decide that you can't grow and develop, then you won't grow and develop. If you decide that you want to, then you will. Literally anything you put your mind to.
Right.
One of the stories in there is about this guy who was 87 years old. He had dementia. He forgot who his kids were. He forgot everything. And he learned how to play the piano. And when he was 90, he did a concert at Carnegie Hall.
Shit.
Like he never played the piano before.
What?
In 4 years became a became a prodigy and played Carnegie Hall. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Like which is something that people, and there's people at 35 that say,
spend their whole lives.
I can't do this because I never did that before. And it's like, well, you better figure out how to do it.
Exactly. Like, you can't hang it up.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I'm putting that in my list.
Yeah. That's a good one. The Spook Who Sat by the Door. If there's anybody who works in corporate America, you should absolutely read that book.
Okay.
You'll see when you read it. I don't want to spoil it, but
Got it.
Yeah, The Spook Who Sat by the Door, great book. I guess it really depends on which industry you're in, because I got a bunch of marketing books.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of advertising books. Ogilvy on advertising is a great one if you're in marketing. Ogilvy is one of the largest marketing agencies in the world. They do everything you see. I think in 1 year, Ogilvy had like 30% of the Super Bowl commercials that can't
something like
came out. There's one agency. It's crazy. I've studied them a lot.
As you transition,
LL Cool J. I make my own rules.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good.
LL Cool J's memoir. I make my own rules.
Yeah, that was good. I was surprised. I was surprised.
I was shocked.
Yeah. I was surprised. But LL Cool J is a dope.
Yeah,
boy.
he's layered. Like very layered. Very layered.
Yeah.
Pink cookies in a plastic bag getting crushed by buildings.
He's different, but he read the whole dictionary too.
Yeah.
He's like a different boy.
That's what I'm saying.
He's different.
LL Cool J. Sorry,
go ahead.
One more thing. LL Cool J is one of my inspirations. I'm gonna let the audience figure out what I mean by this. But that Gap commercial that he did,
back in the
FUBU,
yeah,
I've done that a million times over. I just keep doing it over and over again, right in front of people's faces, because, I mean, why not? Like, that was genius. Like, I had never seen anything like that before. I was so inspired by it.
Yeah,
like even just I'm like, wow, like, oh yeah, we can do this. Like, we can do this our way, no matter where we are.
For us, by us. I love it.
Yeah.
For us,
by
us.
Shout out to Damon. Damon John is on our advisory board of a Forbes the Culture. So shout out to Damon.
Another good dude.
Yeah, I met Damon in the airport because we were both being racially profiled at the same time. That's how we met. That's how we met. We were in JFK. They were searching our bags and they put us in this room together. I thought I was on a TV show.
Damon John.
Yeah, I thought I was on a TV show.
From the Shark Tank.
Yeah, I thought that this was like a show and I was a part of it because he was already in the room. I didn't see him until I got in the room. They were like, you will wait here while we search your bags, and I'm like, whatever. Yeah. And I walk in the room and Damon John is sitting there scrolling his BlackBerry, and I started looking around for cameras. I'm like, there's no way. Like,
they're pranking me.
Yeah.
Where's Ashton?
Yo, I say it all the time. Where's Ashton?
Yo.
So I sat down. And I was like, "Are you Damon John?" And he laughed. I'm like, "Look, man, you never know.
Right,
man. People, everybody's got a twin.
Everybody got a doppelganger.
Yeah. I'm like, everybody's got a twin. He was out there. I think he was about to miss his flight. He was trying to get home to his kids. Right. We talked for all the time that we was in there. They called him out first because his bag was ready first. And I was like, "Can I get your contact? Like can we stay in contact?" I was like, "I kind of want to ask you to mentor me, but I'm not sure how you will receive it." He was like, "So are you asking me or are you not asking me?" And I just got his contact, and I just, I don't mind bothering people, until I actually needed something, which was when I wanted him to join this advisory board. So
I like this as a learning. Don't be afraid to ask anybody to be your mentor or ask the fucking question. People
hit me up all the time. They're like, "Man, not to bother you." I'm like, "No, bother me if you want. Like, if you want to, it's the only way you're gonna get a response in some instances, because I am very, very
booked and busy.
So if I don't respond right away, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I can't see it now because it's on Do Not Disturb. But I got a lot of messages. I have 979 unread text messages right now.
Yo, it took us a little bit of time to get them in here.
Yeah.
But we got them here. We're coming back. I want some gems from Damon. We know we can't get Damon in here, but
I can tell you some of the stuff he told me.
Bruh.
I can tell you some of the stuff he told me.
We gonna run that back. And we appreciate you for coming through sessions. And we definitely got to do it again.
having me, and I appreciate you for allowing me to talk as much as I did, because I feel like I was just running my mouth.
Yo, it was fun. We don't care. We gonna let you ad-libs for the culture. For the culture. I appreciate you. Thank you. This was Sessions. Let's do it again.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was a camera.
Sorry. Hey, peace.